There's already someone here, a being here with me.
How wonderful.
It's my little dragon.
Your dragon. Could
He's,
you describe him for me so I can see him also?
he's small. He's a young one. He's sitting on the ground next to me while I sit on the bench. He's
How
looking up at me.
nice. Would he like to share anything with us?
Hmm. Hmm. He said I came here for your protection, but it feels more like he's young and he's playing at that. He's playing at learning to
Okay.
be a protector for me. And
Would
he's
you look?
excited. He says he's excited to be here with us.
Well, so let us all, three of us, move on down. Oh, is there more happening?
He wants to take us to his mother.
To his mother. I would love to meet his mother.
She is in the crystal cave.
Then we shall go to the crystal cave. Very good. I'm glad he mentioned that so we would know. So let us go to the crystal cave, walking down a little cobble path together, going downwards very slightly into the earth, arriving at the mouth of the cavern. As we're walking, our fingers gently grazing the stone wall covered in moss at the side of the steps, steadying ourselves as we go. And as we walk down the steps, you hold on to that wall, enjoying that cool moss under our skin. Now we have reached the bottom of the steps, heading into the mouth of the cavern. Very magical and powerful energy in this cavern. And we stare into it in wonder, knowing that our beloved Mother Dragon waits for us inside.
She's already there.
Let's join Mother Dragon. And once we've reached her, share with me what you're experiencing or seeing.
I was already hearing her speak to me as we went to the cave, and I'm surprised to hear that she says she is my sister. She says that I have a dragon aspect as well, and that she is communicating with me as Erin, as and to remind me of that she's my sister, and that the young one, so the young one is like a nephew, but he signed up to be a protector for Erin.
Very good.
And so does she help me ask her questions?
Absolutely, absolutely. Before I begin asking my questions, I would like to know if she has brought forward any important information for Erin that we need to address today, something we might need to know.
She says I have to remember my treasure, my buried treasure, because I'm an earth dragon.
An earth dragon.
I'm an earth dragon, and that I have much treasure that is, it's symbolic. I mean, it's an energetic, it's a symbolic thing, but it's as if it's buried deep, that I've been guarding it for a long time, and it's time for me to bring it up to the surface so I can access it again.
This treasure, is it symbolic for some new healing gifts or abilities?
It there Yes, and there are a number of different tools there for her that have to do with various aspects that she holds here. So she is a healer, she is a teacher, she is a leader. She's kind of she is a nurturing uh, mother goddess energy who also leads the community. And but she also she teaches and she heals and she creates, she expresses. So she will be leading a community, not alone, there will be others as well, but as part of a council perhaps that creates on many levels. And in the early phases, it will be focusing more on healing because there will be souls coming in are slowly remembering how to rejoin this level, this new earth level, this 5D level. So in the early phase, it will include a lot of healing, and then there will always be teaching, but there will be much, much joy, creation, music, play, music, expression, theater, arts, and that is another way of teaching and healing. And that is because that is one of this soul, the soul of Erin, many of the facets of this soul are focused in creation energy, in expression energy.
Yes. Is this the new earth that Mother Dragon speaks of?
Yes.
Good. What can she share with us about her own vision of New Earth, what she sees that we might be interested in knowing?
Well, she says that there are many, 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 many new Earths. Even within each timeline aspect of the new Earth that has to do with individuals that are creating that. And you may still be on the same general plane of existence, but you will have this pod over here focusing in this creation, and then you'll have another pod over here that is doing a different kind. And that at some point they will come together occasionally and they will interact with each other and share their creations. But there are many, many different creations.
Thank you. From the human perspective, that is quite a lot to wrap our head around, I think, but it is a wonderful thing to look forward to. So this with the new earth, I've always had the idea that this is something we create within ourselves now, that we're setting the stage for that manifestation, that what we envision is what we will be creating as our own new earth reality. Is this correct
Yes.
in your opinion? Yeah.
Yes, and this is very similar to what I was just speaking of. It's similar in that way too, that there are many, many realities within the container that you call New Earth. And so there are layers to that New Earth that you think of as different timelines. And within each layer, it's sort of like the Russian dolls, or the egg inside the egg inside the egg, the sphere inside the sphere inside the sphere. There are layers, and on each surface layer there are different groups of experiences and expressions of souls. And so yes, you'll create the experience that you wish for in the timeline that you choose. But there will also be others who create a slightly different experience than yours, and you will be each in your own space, and possibly you would choose to explore each other's occasionally now, and experience that. But
You.
it is time, actually. It's important for you all to be spending time daydreaming and fantasizing and creating what your particular reality in the new earth looks like, feels like.
Doing. Can you tell us any more about what the transition from 3D to 5D might look and feel like for us? How will we know it's happening?
This will be fairly individual too, in terms of each person's own personalized experience of that. But as a generality, it is a felt thing. It comes through the senses and the energy body. So, as some of you are more physically oriented, or some of you are more sensory oriented, or some of you are more, I'm not finding the words. There's different kinds of intelligences and different kinds of the foci that you use to experience your worlds. And so you will each experience it in that way. For Erin, she feels this energetic wave that sweeps through her body. That's connected somewhat to uh, her excessive air energy, air element in her being in this embodiment. So she feels that wave that moves through. It's like light, and it's almost like a wind that moves through her. For some people, it will feel like a wave, like a tidal wave. For some people, it will feel sort of like a flame. People will feel, or they'll experience it as a light, like a flash of fiery light, which doesn't actually burn, but vibrates intensely. Some of you will experience a combination of these things. Yes, so it's a very inner experience.
Erin's been feeling quite intense energies where she's been a bit tired. Is it related in any way to what you're describing?
She has various things happening right now. What she experienced was part of the flash, the coronal mass ejection that hit the earth, and she often feels this earlier. And it is, in fact, it's like rebooting, but also reforming, reconfiguring her entire system. And this one was a particularly amplified wave of this. So she did feel it through her entire body. And she's going to feel an up level up from this, a physical upliftment. And she still occasionally will have waves of just, she's been concerned because some days she's felt such a deep level of exhaustion. But it is not that. It's simply many of the old cells are dying. They're dying off, and so that new ones can come in, and new ones are, she's losing the old to make room for the new, and you can't help but feel that. You are still in a 3D body. You're still in a physical 3D level body, so you're going to feel discomfort from that.
The cells that, for example, would be dying off, I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, that these are the carbon-based cells and that the new ones would be more crystalline in nature.
Yes, it's almost as if your body is transmuting. It's transmuting itself. It's burning away the old dense energy. But it has to be done in waves, in layers, because all at once is a lot for you to handle. There are a few beings that have signed up for that and who have experienced that, but it makes it very difficult for them to function in 3D world for a while after this has happened to them.
She feels it so intensely. Are others who don't feel this way still experiencing the same upgrades, just not as sensitive as Erin may be?
Yes, this is something she's often wondered about. Each of you are in a different place and in a different time, but not to worry if you're not experiencing. So it is happening, and some of you will place a bigger leaps and catch up towards the end here, but you can handle it. That's something you can handle. And part of why Erin is experiencing it more is that she is also transmuting for others.
That was my next question, actually. She has often felt that she's actually transmuting energy for the collective. It's quite exhausting. It's resulted in maybe some discomfort health-wise. What can you share with us about that?
She actually, she did end a contract to do this with the collective. However, she did not remove a choice to do this for her loved ones, for her family, friends, for her closest community. So there are people in your group that she is transmuting for. There are people in her groups that she has in her community where she lives, and there are people in her family. So she is transmuting for them because she's chosen to do this out of love, because she knows that for some of you, it is extremely challenging and makes it difficult to do other things that you came here to do. So she feels this is part of her karma. She's been in a long process of releasing karma from times when she feels that she did some very, very dark and sad things, although she does know that her soul chose to experience those lives and those choices so that she has compassion ultimately to understand the people that are still choosing to do that. However, it still pains her. It makes her very sad, and she wants to do, in each embodiment, she wants to still show up in a way that she's helping also to make up for that.
So many of our experiences, whether in lifetimes or other places in the universe, I think everything has prepared us for this point in time right now, this point, such a pivotal time in the universe's history. So this contract she has to transmute, it is safe for her to keep this part of the contract in place. This is part of that experiencing for her.
This is, yes, and this is a choice that she made. She did make this choice on a conscious soul level,
That's
and that's what she, she agreed to that part of it. And something that I want to tell her and to tell you and others who may be listening is that many of you have carried so much weight, so much pain, so much suffering, so much for other people because you are here to serve and you are guardians and you are healers and you are light warrior beings. But we want you to know that it is soon coming that you will be free of that. You will no longer be asked to do that until your souls may at a future time decide to do this kind of cycle again somewhere else in the universe or universes. But for this universe here, and for a time, you will soon be free of that and you can create from a completely new
thank
place. You
you.
have done your service here and you are very loved and highly regarded for the work.
In the new earth, will this be the time we will be able to freely interact there with our galactic brothers and sisters and families? Will it be conducive to that type of interaction once this occurs?
Oh, there will be so much joy there that you can't even
Oh,
imagine. You can't comprehend. This is something that you have not experienced for many, many lifetimes here, unless you've been able to travel, as you have, Bella. You've been able to go back and forth to your galactic lives in between times. Erin has not been able to do this for a very long time, and others have not. And so it's difficult to comprehend the the joy, the grace, the ease, the freedom, and for a while that you will be doing nothing. It'll just be one big party. Yes. And you were asking about the new earth, and the new earth
mhm.
is itself a place that many people here are going to. However, there will also be the freedom for those of you that wish to go back and forth. And some of you will be moving on
Mhm.
altogether and not spending time on New Earth at all, or
Yes.
or maybe only a little bit. But you have the choice in your awareness in this embodiment if you choose to carry on with this embodiment, as many people are, because this is a new exciting thing that has never happened before here in this place. But you have the ability in this body as you move into the new earth level that you can travel.
Could you tell me what dimension or level you exist on? Is it a particular place when you're not here with us now, or are you here on Earth by Erin's side all the time? Could you tell me something about your life?
Yes, it's dragon dimension is from upper sixth to higher 12th D. Many of us exist between 6 and 7, those of us that interact with Earth humans. And so there is a place that we can be physical if we want to, although we tend to do that more when we have come in and out of the Earth plane. At other times, there have been physical dragons on the Earth with humans, so that humans were aware of them.
Mm-hmm.
But we travel interdimensionally. We travel through your dream space, and you travel to us in your dream time. And we have long had a great fondness for humans in certain times on the Earth, and certain souls that we have followed, that who have followed with us many lifetimes.
I felt during meditation a connection oftentimes with the dragons, and I was told recently in a session that one of my dogs, Ava, is actually one of my dragon companions and protectors. Are you able to see her now and let us know if this is a common thing for the people on Earth?
Mm. Yeah, yes, Ava. I would not say it's common. I
Okay.
would say that that is a choice that Ava made. The dragon that is Ava made that choice because of another life, encountered other and friends and companions.
Yes.
And it has happened for a few other people, but it's fairly special and unique.
That's good to know. I've always felt she was a protector for me. And I have seen her, and I was told she's a shapeshifter also. Is that a characteristic that all of the dragons share, being a shapeshifter into other
Mhm.
forms at will?
It's it is very common for certain levels of dragons. Yes.
And our young baby dragon that is here today, what can you share about him? He's a new friend for Erin. What should she know?
Oh, he's very excited. He's
I can see now.
he is younger as a dragon, but he has been on Earth with Erin before, not as a dragon. Um, he embodied as a human, and she embodied as a human, and they have also been embodied as dragons. But he's a few thousand years younger than I am, and we represent to you as mother and child, but it has to do with kind of the lineage and the level of that dragon energy. Yes, he's very excited. He has not been to Earth as a dragon before. They were dragons together in the dragon realm, off world, but he is excited to be on Earth as a dragon in this particular time because it's
Yeah.
such an exciting time, and he can't believe that he is able to show up because it is somewhat limited who is allowed to come and go from the Earth plane at this time.
As the dragons, will you also be able to freely interact with us in the fifth dimensional version of Earth?
As much as you wish us to.
Oh, we do. That would be wonderful. And I think it'll
Yeah.
be very exciting for our young friend to do that. I see him dancing around Erin right now. So yes. Is there anything he would like to share with us while we're talking?
He is very excited about castles. He is hoping you will create castles again
Oh yes.
because he feels that he missed out as a dragon being around a castle.
I will be creating a few for him. So
That he would like to play. He would like to play the game. It will only be the game in the 5D Earth, but the game of the story of he could be the fierce dragon who flies around the castle and blows flames, but they're not flames that will burn anything. And he can also be the protector dragon, and he would like to play these games with you.
well, I've been told Ava is going to be shifting with me when I see it as the flash, as the fire, when this happens. Is that what you see also? And if so, I would like to let our young friend know he's welcome to come and visit us there also with my dragon.
Yes, I think that I believe he knows Ava.
Many do. She's a
Yes.
unique character. There are many people who we've been trying to awaken them, or that we watch within our own within our families, friends, who are just oblivious to everything that's going on. They don't seem to understand or want to. When this occurs, this shift, what happens to these people? Where do they go exactly? Or do what happens when the separation occurs?
This is hard to explain exactly. It's an interdimensional experience, and for a little time, it depends on what level you will go to. So some of these people you speak of will actually make it to a lower 5D realm. Their their souls have chosen to experience certain things, the certain level of oblivion, as a learning thing that they can then look at later. It's not necessarily kind of cursing them to be trapped. And there are just much lower dimensional beings who have not been in earth bodies that long, who need to continue to experience the 3D. So they won't be going. A lot of them will physically pass on, and then there will be a level at which things sort of shimmer out. How else to say that? It's sort of as if they kind of just shimmer out of your realm of perception. So it's slow, but it's almost like a dream.
I understand.
So, probably there are not people in your immediate family reality that will just be completely gone unless there's one or two people that manage to jump in as an illustration for you of a certain kind of awareness. But many of them will be going to at least a lower level 5D that will be a much slower transition for them to get there.
So, the third dimensional experience for these people, it will go on similar to how it is here now. Will there be improvements in a lot of the constraints, such as the financial system, the governments? Will a lot of that dishonesty disappear? Or is that something they still need to process and work with?
Well, I think that we're talking about two different things. I think if you're referring to people in your family that may do a very slow, gradual transition out of 3D, they will not actually be in 3D. They're already in a kind of a lower 4D. We're almost there.
Okay.
So because things, even their perceptions, they're very confused because they are getting certain perceptions that are real different, but they don't like to talk about it because it's very confusing for them. And they don't know how to explain it, and they wonder if a part of them is a little bit crazy, so they don't say anything. Those people that are stuck in 3D for maybe the next 26,000 years or something till the next
Right.
splash, they will be the level of earth that's still holding them won't exist that much longer. And they will find themselves in a new place, a new 3D place. But that's not really that important for your journey. That's something that they experience in whatever level they receive that at. I think what you're mostly interested in are family members and friends that are moving gradually to where you are ultimately. And
Okay.
so they'll be in a slower lower 4D, then upper 4D, gradual change. And yes, one of the first things that will happen is the financial system will shift much for the better. It will be a slower transition for them than it will be for you, but nevertheless, it will feel very freeing and will allow them much larger scope for their minds, larger, a larger viewpoint so that they can begin to shift much more naturally on an emotional level, on a level of their awareness. So it will take some time, but nothing as what it would have been for them to be in 3D.
That's comforting. Most of the time in my sessions, that's one of the questions that I always get from the client, a newer client, is what is going to happen to my family and friends?
She, well, first I will address this. Her mind has been asking, so how does this work that I am a dragon's sister and I am speaking in her session? So then a part of her is wondering how I am connected to her. And then she just had an aha moment as we were talking about other things, that we are one. We are one. We all are one. As you are you, I am you too, Bella. And you, Bella, you are Erin. And you are Ava. And Ava is Erin. And the baby dragon is all of you. And this is a level at which Erin is beginning to recover some of her understanding, that complete oneness place. And she has embodied in upper 7D, which becomes less and less physicality, but almost there's actually even sacred geometries at that level and energies, and so those also. So you're going to be waving in and out during this time as we transition, as the flash comes in, catching glimpses of a much higher level of perception of all of this, which will help you. This will help you for the parts of you that still have physical bodies. As we said, this is very new experience to carry a physical body with you into ascension, and it will become a light body, but there will still be a gradual shift of that. So it is very helpful for you to begin to access more of these understandings of the ultimate connection of all things at the same time that you can maintain your individuality.
I was shown an image quite often of a birthing from source, where source sent out, they almost look like pods of energy that would burst open, and it would be families of stars. Just
Yes.
that's how we're one. We're all a part of that one source. Is that similar to what you're describing to Erin? Is that
Mhm.
accurate in your opinion?
Yes, the dragons have a fond memory of something very similar. It's the birthing of the dragons.
Yes.
Yes, yes, that, and humans sometimes fight the concept of oneness because they believe that it will take away their individuality, their
Yes.
uniqueness, because that is one of the most beautiful things about humans, is the incredible diversity and individuality here of your beings, and the incredible degrees and ways that you can create. There are not many other places in all of the universes that this is possible by a physical being is able to do this. And you're reclaiming a lot of these. You haven't had access to this for many lifetimes here, not going, it hasn't been since very ancient times, Lemurian times and Atlantean times, that you had that capacity for creation. But there's a part of you that's really afraid, especially because of the ways you've been effed with here by these
Yes.
dark beings that want to take away your freedom, your choice, your individuality, your will. So we just lovingly remind you that the oneness holds all of that. It's all one connection and very unique individual beingness. And one is not better than the other. It's all. It's all source energy. So the next place you're going to is the absolute joy of holding both of those. Because in many of the higher dimensions, you will lose that individuality. So that's unique and special.
That's always felt important to me, the aspect of the individuality. It's something that I remember existing as 5D. I have an aspect of myself that is in a sleeping state, a Pleiadian state, a body that I have the option to go back into. But the more I'm learning about how the physical body, everything you said about the uniqueness and how it's different. So the human in a fifth dimensional form, for example, would have much greater creational abilities and individuality than just say a Pleiadian person in that same fifth dimensional state.
Pleiadians are very closely seated in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
So the lines are a little blurry there. Yeah, the humans and human DNA and Pleiadian DNA has become intertwined at many levels. And because Pleiadians have spent so much time on this planet, and because of the higher level at which their consciousness exists, even beyond 5D, they have that ability to access those states, or at least to, if they just want to experience what it feels like, and possibly even to ignite it within them, they can merge with another Pleiadian or even a human with a fair amount of Pleiadian DNA. But it's so much fun to explore this.
It is.
It's a wonderful, and you have also have the choice to try out different aspects. You're coming from a reality that has told you that, okay, you pick this thing and you do this thing.
Yes.
It's ingrained in your levels of schooling and your education that says you pick this, you focus, that's what's important. And
That's what we're doing right now.
yes, and many of you, and Erin has certainly been, you have experienced the concept of shape shifting when
Yes.
you're in density, when you're in a dense form, being able to shape shift to other forms of that density. And it's just a slightly farther jump to know that you can just experience shifting between those aspects. Because they all exist in parallel times anyway.
And all time is one. So,
Yes,
and
yes,
it's boggling for the mind when we have still got a little bit of that veil of amnesia here. We're trying, these are things we already know, but can't seem to remember.
yes.
And that's what I find myself telling clients. It's not that you have to remember. It's not that you don't know, you just don't remember. And hopefully that will be lifting very soon.
Yes, and so I would offer this to anyone who might be listening to this discussion and feels like it's intriguing but just too much to
Yes.
digest, or to that I would suggest to this, well, the image that is shown to me that is one an ideal place is in the bathtub, because you're in the element of water
Mm,
and there's coding within this discussion, and you can receive that into your brain synapses, and the coding can move through you, and the water will help you disperse it through your system. And you don't have to understand what this means. Just consider that you can immerse yourself in some water in a relaxed state, and it doesn't matter whether you immediately cognize it here, that you can immediately analyze it and repeat it back in some what your idea is of a clear form, because you are all moving to the level where you will be telepathic, and that's a very different experience of information. It's much more a felt experience.
I've been trying to work with that. Um, Again, connecting with Star Family and just trying to feel like connecting through that heart chakra. Are there any exercises you could suggest for Erin or anybody else or myself to help strengthen that ability to, the telepathic skills, I guess you could call them, or the remembrance of those skills?
It's just finding different ways to disconnect from. Erin has a teacher who taught her about that this is the analyzer, and he taught her ways to explore energetically. He said, just take your analyzer out and put it in a box and put it under your chair, and then see what you experience. When you decide that you can use that as a human mind way of thinking. You can say, oh, I can able to just take this thing out. I'm going to take this mind part that analyzes and compartmentalizes things and creates structures and needs words. I'm going to just remove that. I'm going to put it over here for safety. It's served me well. It's a tool that has served me well in 3D, but I'm going to set it aside and then I'm going to see what I can open to and experience. And then in terms of telepathy, maybe you get a homework buddy. You find someone to say, let's play with this. Let us play with this together. Let's set up a date. So we will both remove our analyzers at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, this particular Wednesday afternoon, and then we will see what we see. We will call to each other. We will explore, and then we will compare notes and see if we have discovered the same thing. Or we will send messages to each other about something, and then we write down what it is that you perceive, and then you compare notes. And in the beginning, it just seems like silliness and fun and games, and maybe there's not much accuracy for some people. For some people, there might be a lot of accuracy, but you see it as fun. Many of you do not have enough fun when you explore these things and when you try to reclaim your knowledge.
It feels very serious.
Yes.
It feels like a pressure right now to connect and achieve. And it's almost like, well, we have to do this, that, and the other thing to get from point A to point B being that jump into 5D. There's a concern. Are we doing enough for ourselves, for humanity? It's definitely a pressure that I think a lot of us are feeling right now.
But this is, again, this is connected to this part of you that's analytical, that
Mhm.
it's a part of the programming that you have received and a disconnection that has kept you in this idea that of separation and that you're not doing enough and that you need to do more and that you're not loving enough, that you don't care enough. And those are all forms of separation that have been installed within you,
Mhm.
so for anyone, I would say anyone who's listening to this and is relating to this conversation, it's important to find that place within you and acknowledge that you have already done great good in the world. You have done great good since the day you chose to embody here. You came here to bring the light. You came here to heal, to teach, to share, and you have done enough. You can do more, of course, but the more you enjoy doing more and you play with doing more, the more expansive it is, the more people that affects.
Yeah, that's helpful. I think it's about our taking a lot of this pressure off of ourselves too, because it is so, no matter how awakened we are, I think it's just ingrained so deeply within us that that sense that we have to keep achieving, keep moving forward and doing more things.
Yes.
And it's uncomfortable. So yeah, working on releasing that for sure. I think that would be great for all of us. What other what other information are we allowed, and I use that word allowed, to have about the shift?
Not to be frustrating or annoying, but things change. They're in a constant state of flux, and in fact have become more and more that way as things are building, as the energies are building. You can know absolutely that you've already won, that
Yeah.
that already is, and finding a way to focus as much as you can as if it already is in whatever moments you have of quiet time and freedom to just go in and play that I'm already there. I'm already where I wanted to be. What does that feel like? Oh, I'm feeling it right now. And speaking to yourself as if that's true, and then start playing with speaking it to each other as if it's already true. And those energies will pull it in faster and faster. It is speeding up right now. It is very close. It could happen. I wouldn't say tomorrow, but I could say it could happen within this month, more likely towards the end of the year, but possibly beyond that.
Yes.
But your frequency, the higher frequency, are so much more powerful than that. And so the more of you coming together and inspiring other groups of other light workers and sending light and joy to each other and amplifying that field, the faster it'll come, regardless of what the density is doing. It is that, all I would say is that you have all come here at this time to be in this exact place, doing this exact thing in exactly the way that you each individually are perfectly aligned to do. So each one of you is manifesting your experience right now in the perfect way for yourself. And you are like a beautiful honeycomb, beautiful. I don't even want to say a hive. You're like the combs all connected in this beautiful pattern of full of honey and light. And you're just a beautiful energy field of purpose, passion, unconditional love, and you will move together. That energy field is becoming brighter and brighter and expanding more. And there's a certain place where you will all find yourselves at the next level in whatever kinds of connection or non-connection that you wish and you choose. But it's all perfect.